O'clock, we'll call the meeting to order.
Yeah.
We have a motion to adopt the minutes of March 6th.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved and second. Any other discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. Franklin?
Yes.
Mr. Mucher?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
And we need a motion to approve the bills of $396,192. Oh, mercy. 359. Oh, 662. $359.62 from the general, $24,800 from the fire, $47.84 from the cemetery, and EMS is $4,066. Road and bridge $34.64. I hear a motion to approve the bills.
Well, I have issues with the bills. We can either move and discuss them before we do it, or review them beforehand. Fiscal officer, which is
What's
your
wrong?
preference?
Do it now.
But we're just like back in the good old days where
Oh.
the fire department charges tax or pays tax on their stuff that they buy at Lowe's, and the road department pays
I
tax on
paid for those
stuff.
ones.
Yeah,
And-
he called him.
We paid for those
covered
taxes.
that.
Okay, well,
And this one from,
and Rural King is charging, or Dan's buying stuff at Rural King for, with taxes on it for $2.73. And in addition to that, I thought back in the good old days when we bought stuff for the cemetery, you wrote a cemetery check to the US Bank to cover that cost.
yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So these amounts aren't in the total? The amounts for $43.18 and $315?
That's correct.
They're not in total?
Right, the total check, if you look at the check that I cut, it is minus those two figures.
Okay, that's good. All right.
They charge no tax. Working,
Rural King did, yeah.
I told her my township tax exempt, she pulled it up, they didn't sign the thing. Because when you sign out, it says, sign here for tax, still hitting with the tax.
And then I called Granger Equipment and dealt with their tax charge today.
$2.73.
Well, I'll make sure that won't happen again. You always have to sign,
Yeah.
on the card, and they'll say, sign for tax exempt, and
Yeah, but when they give you that slip, look at it.
I will, I didn't catch that. I mean,
So, okay, well, if those aren't on there, then cool. Off we go.
Rural King tends to be fussy about taxes.
Well, I tell them, Miami Township, they pull it up, and then on the screen, you have to sign for tax exempt, you gotta sign it and then sign again.
It's a pain everywhere.
Mark, did you want
So they went ahead and.
to pay those, or?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Move and second, we pay the bills as presented here, as amended, whatever.
As amended.
Any other discussion? See, vote, please.
Mr. Mucher?
Yes.
Mr. Franklin?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
Under correspondence, Ohio Township Association newsletter, Department of Commerce liquor control notice, Otarma newsletter, email about the LTAP sign grant, construction information from Bricker and Eckler, open house announcement from Greene County Library, invitation to an annual report on Greene County economics growth, notification of biannual FY17 Community Development Block Grant, invitation to Little Miami Conservancy's 50th anniversary, email from Greene County Public Health, emails from MVRPC about April, March and April meeting cancellations and the 2016 audit, emails from GC Association District Advisory Council meeting, legislative alert March 10, minutes of March 6th meeting, email from Attorney Hayden, closing of the Wright State property, email from the Yellow Springs Inc. about the Wright State property, email from residents, support protection of Jacoby Greenbelt acreage. Email from Village Council President Withrow, special council meeting March 13th. And this is March 20th. Emails confirming registration of 18th Annual Local Government Officials Conference. An email from the American Transparency Fund Status Report prepared by Margaret. Any other correspondence?
I have
What's this?
It's just the
What we
bank.
talked about?
Yeah, the bank checks. I have a few additional correspondence and interesting, I don't know. This American Transparency, we've heard from them before. Margaret, I don't know if you remember, they sent a request in and they wanted all our salaries for the last couple of years or something like that.
I know that we've gotten, requests,
Yeah,
open records before.
and as I recall, we decided not to respond to them. They were from California or something. And this was a follow-up saying that blah, 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 they want it again. And it was something else. And so I wrote them back and I said, we have a general policy of not opening emails, attachments from senders that we don't know. So if you'd like to have this information, please send it by mail. So,
Yeah, I read that.
Did you?
Yeah, I read your response,
Oh,
so.
okay. I was just kind of going in for the public in general.
So they
How
haven't,
these things Not yet.
responded.
No, they might. I don't know.
Alright.
It just it seemed interesting. I had a couple of pieces that came in late. One was a reminder of our next Township Association meeting that will be at Clifton Park? No, Clifton.
That could be, they're on
The Clifton Lodge. I
the
should
South River Road,
Yeah.
just
Clifton
east
Lodge.
of 72,
say. We had a nice meeting there last year, and they did a nice job.
along the river.
Yeah. So that'll be April 11th this year. And in addition to Township Association legislative action items. And a notice from law firm just reminding us that the Bureau of Workmen's Compensation is going to redistribute another $1 billion in rebates to all Ohio customers. I don't know how much we got back the last time, but it was a pretty good clip. And the last one was that I didn't print out earlier, was a response from a woman who's in the title company who's doing the title work for the transfer of the Wright State property, and she's going to hopefully give me a firm date on when we'll meet to do that. And that's all the correspondence I had additionally.
Anything else, Mark?
No,
And we'll move on to Fire Department report.
Yes, sir. Since the last meeting of the board, we've had 36 EMS calls, and 9 fire incidents, and 6 fire safety inspections have been conducted. I can't remember if I told you this, I'm trying to find the record, so, yeah, surprise. Sherry Johnson Brewer has received her paramedic certification, so now.
You said she was waiting for it, so.
Yeah, okay, good, so now she's legal.
Super.
All 3 that means that we put through Clark State last year, did what we asked them to, which is pass and become paramedics, so she joins. Excuse me,
And her.
joins Nate and Joe. And then we've still got 2 who are out testing still, and then we didn't pay for it. But we'll drive and take their services. Depending on the weather, over the next several weeks, we'll be burning half of the township, conducting controlled, prescribed burns of the smaller part of the Morris Bean Prairie and the Marsh Prairie on East High in the dip.
Do you do the New South Glen at all?
No, not yet. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just it. Like,
The new Southland?
South Glen,
the
the prairie
down by the old.
across from the mill, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we
You've
did
done
that
that.
one. Yeah, we've done that one. That one's a tough one to do just because they don't have a lot of prairie grass in there, so it doesn't burn very well.
Yeah, I don't know what that stuff is. Kind of weird looking.
Morris Bean and the marsh prairie were, seeded with prairie grass, much like the Glen Forest Cemetery. So they burn a lot better and accomplish what we're supposed to accomplish. But they've always been training for our people, so we always appreciate the opportunity to burn those. But hopefully the weather's gonna cooperate before everything turns green, so we'll see.
Mhm.
But this is the same process every year.
Yeah.
All the trucks and ambulances and everything else have had their annual safety inspections as required by the DOT and NFPA, so everything passed, which is good.
Good.
Some levy news update stuff. Yellow Springs News will be running a story this week about us having a levy. So that's a good thing to put out there for the public. Firefighter Alex Went is over at the council meeting this evening, just updating the council for their request on our levy. It'll probably be a quick update because they got a lot on their agenda tonight, so I think he has 4 minutes, so. We should have our site sign for the property by Friday that says future home of, has your 3 pictures going like this, and little Photoshop. Margaret's in there too, I think. No, just say very nicely, future home, Miami Township. I have a picture, one of the pictures from the architects. And it's a permanent temporary site. What does that sound? Plastic chloroplast.
Could I suggest you not put it up until we settle for the property?
Well, that's why I've held off ordering the sign. I didn't want
Well,
to jinx
we
anything.
get the sign, but I just get a little nervous about putting it up there before we even close on the property.
Well, it'll be ready.
Yeah, that's good. That's
It'll be
great.
ready, and I'll have to work with Dan to get it put up. It just uses
And I would
posts.
have to
We need
say
posts 'cause-
that I don't feel any nervousness at all.
Is it just a sign on each side, or is it a?
Just it's a single side. It's they're kind of plastic because it's not designed to last forever, obviously. And they said you just bolt it and well, there's a couple of requirements. I'll tell you all that stuff. So it's pretty easy.
You gotta have some posts to hold it to.
Well, yes, we do have to start with posts. That's a
Yeah.
good place to start. We definitely wanted to put it on trees because that would be bad.
Speaking of, go ahead. Sorry.
How's the Vulcan symbol? Is live long and prosper?
Prosper?
I'm all for that.
There, yes.
Speaking of the property, one little bit of business we need to do tonight is, I guess I'll just go ahead and make the motion since I don't need to ask for it. I need to make a motion that authorizes, I would think, either Lamar or myself to sign the documents for the transfer of title from Wright State to Miami Township. Our attorney gave us that directive to do that. So I'll make the motion and I need a second. Nobody's in the second.
I will second that. My question is really, it doesn't matter which one of you goes to sign. The question is, how do we determine? Mar, are you got a free schedule?
Oh, well, I would, my guesstimate is that Lamar will sign it if he can go whatever the date that ends up being. I'm going to go just because I feel, it's important to have a continuity of that, I was involved with the acquisition and I know the people and, nothing else, just to make introductions.
So,
And just in the, as I say, just in the, happenstance that, he either couldn't do it, it's good to have a backup.
Okay.
So,
I'm
I'm in.
So the motion, what we would be voting on would be for you to be signing.
yeah, authorizing either of us to sign.
Well, doesn't matter to me. I'm president, I'll sign it, doesn't matter to me. Right now. I plan to be there. as president, I feel like I should be there. So my schedule's open.
Good. Hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yeah, well, you never know when I might have to call him or something.
I was gonna say, I saw the
Have a
cow
heart attack,
on
you're
the-
that big fat chick.
on your smartphone there,
Oh,
the nursery picture, remember that?
no. I call in help for things like that.
So that's all I have to say
I have
about
somebody
the.
on standby.
That's a move in a second.
That's all I have to say about the motion.
Any other discussion? Proceed and vote, please.
Mr. Spracklen?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
The press release for the Yellow Springs news story is in your packet, because I'm so formal. This was my report.
Take me now?
I didn't give you one. I don't think I did. Oh, sorry,
Okay, well,
that's
you can
it.
make a copy of that.
Never mind.
You pass that along to the boss.
No, I don't want that. The press release?
Yeah.
No, usually you give me a memo.
Oh, I did.
Oh, it's
Must
on
be
my desk
desk
somewhere then.
somewhere. Okay.
Right.
That I gave you. And then, just FYI, the general FYI things, last week I helped out at Cedarville with Chief Miller. His board of trustees authorized him to hire a full-time firefighter paramedic. So, we had interviews last week, so myself and Chief Payton from Silver Creek assisted with those. So, there were 3 candidates, and we'll see what goes with.
You help them choose.
Do interviews and, yeah, we've been working closely with Chief Miller since he took over. You know, I mean, he worked with Scott Baldwin obviously for a long time, but there was a lot of things for him to be taught up to speed on, so. we're helping him
I
out
stopped
as much
in
as we
there.
can.
Week or so ago and had a talk with him, looked at the firehouse and asked him what they would recommend or, do differently, things like that. He was a good talk with him.
Yeah, good guy. And that is it.
I have one question. I was asked about the space at the Clifton fire station, and in regards to the new space being built. Any plans?
We've had some internal discussions about some things to do. We've actually talked with, preliminary talks with Chief Miller about some shared ideas for this space. It would be very low cost and be I mean, Yellow Springs and Cedarville are pretty much the exact same distance from Clifton, so there might be some training opportunities that we could use, not burning it. I don't think the village would be happy with that one, but I did mention some brief ideas with the mayor, Mayor Bury also.
Share the storage facility.
What we're looking at doing is possibly, I mean, we gotta look at costs and all that kind of stuff, obviously, but, and I haven't really brought it to you guys, there's not any kind of formal plan yet, but just as a heads up, once our new facility here is open, obviously the fitness center would be moved over and all that type of thing. The Clifton Station would be a very good location for us for training things. We could build in the current room that the gym is in, basically turn into a search and rescue simulator for guys when they're searching a house, and have a large space out in the bays for props, different training props. And it's a need that both us and Cedarville have, so we've discussed it with Chief Miller, and he's very interested in working together. And basically a joint use training center. The mayor is very interested in us maintaining some kind of presence there. We won't really need it for vehicle storage anymore. So it'd be a nice use of the building since we still have 42 years left on our dollar lease or whatever it is. I mean, I guess we could break that pretty easily if we had to, but it's, it's got a working kitchen and it's got 2 new bathrooms, which are shared, but it would be a nice facility that we, he's got guys at Cedarville and we've got guys here who have built different props for training and that type of stuff, with wood donated from Lowe's and that kind of stuff. So kind of working together might be a nice, what's the appropriate term, synergistic win-win for both of us.
I like that.
Yeah, you got half a dozen training props lying in that,
Mhm.
lying around in that.
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be a nice,
Further back.
nice facility, so,
Mhm.
well, potentially, I mean, we have to look at the building and all that type of stuff, but it wouldn't require really any modification to the building, because everything can be done within the existing structure. Modification, obviously, to turn the gym into a training thing, but that's all part of stuff we could just do in the house. With ideas that we've got from Clark State and from the Ohio Fire Department, so. So I think if it can work, and I think we can work well with Cedar Hill together, it'd be a good use for the building.
Mhm.
It's good to work for City Hall, they got a ladder truck.
Yeah, and we've got actually really, I mean, we always did with Chief Baldwin also, but we also have a very good relationship with Chief Miller. And, I think we can work out some good stuff together, so. And that's us.
Anything else for Chief?
I had asked a week or so ago, your association president, a question about, if they had started distributing brochures or anything. I haven't heard back from him. Is he out of town or?
I can tell you that I know some brochures have gone out into the general public. It's like Tom's, other strategic locations. I think the single center's got a bunch. I think early next month they're going to do the walking thing, door-to-door campaign, and from what I understood, the signs are going over today. So. And then they've got a public forum scheduled on the 20th, and there's 2 open houses as well that are, I think, are more just fire department open houses that may also happen to feature.
Have the postcards been ordered, Have they started?
That I do not know.
Mhm.
Last
They
I
got a
heard,
couple thousand, stickers.
yeah, last I heard about that, there was a fight that broke out about bulk mailing. I'm not sure how that ended, but I'll see what I can find out.
All right, I was just wondering how things were progressing. So, thank you.
But we had brochures, they look nice.
Yes, they do. Excellent.
And that design was from local designers, Clay and Stan. So,
Nice job.
yeah, well, very nice. And the signs and the cards are gonna look on that same theme.
Mhm.
Anything else for Chief? Now we'll move on to Cemetery and Road Department. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, sir. Well, this past Saturday, we had a burial, but it was 3 ashes, all buried at the same time.
Oh, they were just like free to
No, 3 separate ashes, and they all went in one of I charged her for 2. It was $600. That was fair. She did too. Like I said, I didn't have a picture for it. I'll get the others. I had a lot in section I put on there, so I'll get the other info. I'm gonna pick up flowers this week. I think down here first and then flip to the next week. We only have so much room in the dumpster to put them in there. So I'll do one this week and one next. I don't know which week, but it's time.
And just general cleanup. and
Cleanups,
and that
next
sort of thing.
branches, yeah,
Good. Great.
flowers and stuff like that. And then I've got an ashes this Saturday at 11 o'clock down here.
Which going for?
Field Park.
Yeah, it was in the
Section,
paper a lot.
Section 8. Huh?
I think the woman, as a woman who passed away.
The person I'm dealing with named Contestable. I don't.
Yeah, there was obituaries in the day paper several days.
There'll be,
You might expect a little crowd, I
it's
guess.
graveside, so that's Saturday. It was rain, storm, so I don't know how long they'll stay.
You never know.
And I think that's about really all I had. Anything for me or something?
I don't.
Road Department?
I still want to do some crack filling, I get some dry weather on my road. So we squeeze that in the next week or as soon as it's dry enough. And any idea when the pre-con meeting is? Have you heard anything? wait till the winter.
Let's see.
You got help for that crack filling, Bath Township?
Mm-hmm. I got help, bathers even, they'll help, all offers, so, the bath wants to borrow the machine anyway. Or I called for material, but I haven't got it yet, so I need to call him back. Well, I've got enough to do what I need to do. I'll call him tomorrow and see what the material is. Really can't do anything else.
Anything else for the road department?
I had a quick run through our roads here this weekend, and I think they're surprisingly good
Had a
condition.
couple potholes shut, you know, here and there, and
Yeah,
there's some
that
trees that are laying,
Yeah,
they're
oh
blowing out,
yeah.
and I'll get on there.
Before you can mow, you have to
Right,
put some of that stuff up.
right.
But
Nothing's sticking out the road that'll cause a problem.
Been an easy winter for us.
It has, we've used maybe 40 tons of salt, maybe. Thought I was gonna have to use some Friday, but it wasn't that bad, it's later. I didn't go, I just drove around and looked real quick.
a few potholes working up on Snip, but not enough to probably even.
Right, I
build.
saw another one somewhere on North River, I think,
Yeah.
that small one popped up. Joe got his trees cut down up there.
Holy moly, he cut that huge tree down there.
He
and-
took the sycamore down,
Yeah.
and then down towards Clifton to the, by the
All of
limits,
those,
he took
yeah.
all that down. He wanted me to clean the ditch, so I'll go in and just kind of clean the surface, but it was draining today. It's got some grass, debris, stuff that could be moved around, help it drain a little better. Sometimes.
He really wants that last little row of corn in there, doesn't he? That's a lot of work for that, for that row of corn.
They done a nice job though, clean that, looks a lot better.
I went over there and measured that sycamore stump. Across that stump was almost 8 feet.
Gosh.
I wonder how they got that out.
Like two
Well, that was up
inches.
the road.
It was
then.
huge.
They're like 2 inches of being 8 feet across that
Wow.
stump.
How'd they get that thing out of there?
Well, they looked, it cut it up and hauled it away.
It was hollow.
It was hollow.
The stump though, I mean.
They just,
They ground it.
they just peeled it back. It was hollow in the middle.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that.
And then they hauled some dirt in and dressed it.
Amazing.
How much?
He hired some company to do that.
Same company had to do the trees now, they got put this.
And I don't know if you noticed, but on the Harbison Road, you know, the field that still exists, that has got some of the hugest piles of branches and brush and trimmings and whatever. There's like 3 piles that are easily as
The
big,
east,
It-
where
yeah.
they cleaned all the fence rows and
Yeah.
stuff out a couple years.
easily as big as this room.
Oh,
or
bigger.
bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just amazing amount of stuff.
they took all the
People-
fence rows out back in there and all that.
Yeah, they are really busy cleaning that stuff out this time
That's
of year.
been there about a year or so.
Oh, yeah,
Is that right?
at least a year.
I don't know why they haven't, I assume they'll burn it someday.
Pretty good barn.
You'll be watching for a permit.
Yes, sir.
One for each pile. Okay, anything else?
Saw that 110 acres sold on Swimming Pool Road, you know, across the street, 343, best property. Right, that's sold.
Was it 110 or
It's
89?
140,
140 total?
yeah.
There was 30 something across the street, right?
50 some on the north side of
50 something.
343 and 89 on the corner of Swimming Pool and 343. Yeah, it's sold. Yes. Look at me, I didn't buy it.
I was just gonna say, did I?
I was gonna say, he just doesn't seem that excited
I
about it.
had no interest in that.
Did-
Guy in Thompson, Alan Thompson, it was supposedly for his, some of his daughter's employer, maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
Is that the guy from Springfield that bought the,
He buys about everything that's up for sale.
We bought the Braille farm.
yeah,
Did you see they dumped some dirt out there?
I wondered if that was
It was not me. It
our
was-
dirt.
It was not, but evidently Josh and Alan talked to the land trust.
Oh.
And they told him it was okay to dump concrete there.
Mhm,
They told him what they want to do with the place.
mhm.
I opened the gate so he could haul it in there because he called, you know, and he said that he spoke with them and they told him it was all right.
whatever.
What'd you do with the concrete from the cemetery foundation building?
It's the blacktop had to be hauled away from the approach in front of the cemetery. Because I thought, I was told you couldn't dump anything like that there, but he said that they okayed it for him.
We just want the blacktop.
No, we won't dump any of that there, but evidently we can dump concrete in there. I mean, concrete is dumped in there. I thought there was an issue with that.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't have your name on it, put his name on it.
I didn't dump, I just want to let you know, I didn't dump all that. It's there now. But I will push it over when I get a chance, so we can still get in there and dump.
I don't know if it's just because of winter and everything looks worse in the winter, but rot songs look like,
Oh, there's trash blowing out everywhere.
it's like it's growing. Possible.
The agenda for the next meeting,
What,
route song.
don't forget.
I assume we talked about not fogging South River? I just don't recall the
We're
conversation.
not fogging.
I know, about not doing it. I mean, we kind of had this general discussion about fogging everything that was chip sealed, and we chip sealed South River, but we're not fogging it.
No, we're fogging North River and we're down Circle. And Glen Drop.
Did we talk about it or not?
Yes,
what
we
I'm
talked
saying.
about not doing,
We did talk about not doing it, just because it was so much.
yeah, it'd be a lot more. We didn't want to do it this year.
I just was
I
trying to.
didn't figure it because we had talked about, not, that's why I figured the ones that we are doing, North River and Glen Drive and down Circle, we are fogging them,
Mhm.
but not South River.
Right. That's all the questions I had for Mr. Road.
We're down to fiscal officer's report.
Well, I have a resolution to amend our recently adopted permanent appropriations, simply because I didn't expect another audit bill, so we didn't appropriate any money in there because we thought we were done. But anyway, so that's why we had to add some money to our audit.
Is this for our post-audit conference?
Yes. We just wrapping things up, I'm guessing. There were 3 different people listed on the bill. And then we had appropriated $300,000 in our land line for this purchase, but we needed another $53,204, so hence this resolution, which I will read.
Okay.
Whereas it is an ongoing, this is resolution 2017-10. It is an ongoing process to accurately appropriate funds according to the needs of the township. Now therefore the trustees authorize an amendment to the following permanent appropriations in the general fund. Audit services are increased by $784 and land is increased by $53,204. Miami Township trustees authorize the fiscal officer to do so immediately.
Your motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
I'll second that.
That's 2017-10. Any other discussion? Vote please.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
Mr. Muecher?
Yes.
Mr. Sprackman?
Yes.
The only other thing I have to report, so to speak, is that there's been a request to explore electronic deposit of paychecks by some members of the fire department. And so I have a meeting with a gentleman tomorrow. She's going to, at least, I guess, give us a quote on what it would cost. I know we had explored this opportunity maybe years ago.
Yeah, it was like
It was
5 or
brought up
6.
quite a long time ago, I think, and I think maybe then, well, maybe since, electrical everything has become more common, maybe it won't be as expensive, but I believe the last time we decided not to is because it seemed like it was a little cost prohibitive for the 1 or 2 members at the time who wanted that option, so. I'll let you know what I hear, and
I figure if it looks viable to you, we'd just make all our staff do it.
make everybody do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of employers, one or the other,
right,
Is this a
yeah.
private service?
I think they work with you, I think they are a private service because it's somebody that US Bank is familiar with, but it's not US Bank in particular.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, I will find out and let you know.
You say you have a request from whom?
A fire member,
An employee?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it wasn't you guys, and it wasn't me, and it wasn't him.
But it would be nice.
It is the fire folks. That's where the majority of our payroll is anyway.
You gotta have a bank account to put it in.
I'm sure they do.
It'd probably make Margaret's life easier. I'm thinking all the people who've lost their checks that you have to hunt
That's
down.
just Sarah.
So do we need to sign those?
I don't know anything, I know nothing, I will let you know.
Hand cram's gonna get better.
Save on ink.
And that includes, that would include all the volunteers as well, so.
Probably
You know what?
easier.
We wouldn't have, I wouldn't have those straggling checks that, for $5 here and $10 there that they never cash because they're too little or they lose them or whatever. So, anywho, that's all I have.
So crazy.
Any questions for Margaret?
I have none.
Is that a sigh of relief?
I'm sorry,
Zoning inspector is not this time. Standing committee reports. Anybody have a standing committee report?
I have mine anyway.
I did call the Economic Sustainability Committee and tell them that I would attend the next meeting, but that I didn't attend this last one.
Okay, well, I went to the MVRPC directors and board meeting, lots of paperwork. It's mostly all budgetary stuff for 2017, interesting ride share information and a very lengthy transportation budget review from ODOT District 7. The old eyeballs were
Where's the
rolling.
transportation? What was the very lengthy transportation board budget?
Yeah, about the Ohio Department of Transportation's budget and how they established it and how they distribute it and on and on and on. It was a big one. Also, went to RPC meeting both executive committee and the full board meeting last month. Had a nice presentation from the Director of Parks and Trails about activity 2017 with bicycles and bike paths. We have a text amendment for agritourism for Bath Township, another text amendment for Bath Township on animal husbandry. Report from the board training session on February 22nd, which conflicted with our meeting that night, but we did have 3 members of BZA's zoning commission. I'm not sure how that was split out. They did attend the meeting. Talked about some boundaries and annexation submissions from the Census Bureau and the other business, which is long past. Never mind. The mill's doing fine.
Good, my family's staying there in June, they better.
It's all right. Okay.
They rented the whole place, top to bottom.
Great.
My family.
Anything else?
Question about the mill. Do they still do tours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly on request, but periodically they'll, if they have the time, inclination, and people to keep it open for a while on the weekends, they will.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know.
Okay. What'd you say about animal husbandry? That always catches my mind.
Well, it's a little complicated, but within the residential areas of townships, if there are a certain platted out subdivisions that are 5 acres or more and they're contiguous with 15 other parcels, then certain animals can be raised in those parcels. And Bath Township has set out what the percentage and the amount of, the size of the critters that can be on these parcels depending upon the size and the critters. Like you can have, 7 chickens on 2 acres and 15 chickens on 4 acres, and you can have peacocks and peahens, but no llamas, and, 1 horse, and that sort of stuff. It's all spelled out. I have that here if you'd like me to do that.
No, that's okay.
Just
I don't have a need.
Okay.
I just wondered what they were talking about.
Yeah, it's on these specific parts in the residential area. Obviously, you can't regulate that in the agricultural, but you can regulate it in certain areas in the residential areas in the township.
And then the noise issues go along with that, like roosters crowing at 5 o'clock in the morning and things like that.
Unacceptable.
Well, all I know is that my wife is forbidden to raise chickens.
Forbidden by whom?
Apparently, master of the house.
Myself and
You don't like eggs?
her brother and.
You don't like eggs?
Oh, I do, but I go to Tom's.
Hey, it's okay in
Tom's
Yellow
Farm.
Springs, because apparently you can just have free range chickens. It's there in my yard all the time, 5 houses away, but apparently that's okay. Well, have a sign too big in this town,
Do
but
they ever make a nest there, and lay eggs?
no, they get to the front yard in the dog
You
season.
make a,
Bangs on the window, they run off.
make yourself a little
Can you
nest,
do,
then
can
you
you do
want
that
to buy
face to the
eggs.
camera?
Okay.
Ooh, I like that, actually sell eggs like someone else's chicken.
Even up there, probably, Rural King's got the cutest little pre-made chicken coops, houses in all different shapes and forms. They're really pushing that.
Yeah. A lot of people have those. Huh?
Do you have an extensive report on the Clifton Union Cemetery Board meeting that was just passed?
Not extensive. We did have a meeting this past week. Decided to raise the price of graves to $650 in the old part, to be the same as Glen
600.
Forest.
600. In the old part, 600. And 8 in the new.
That's what I said. $650 in the old part.
600.
600.
Open closing went to 650.
Okay.
The grades are the same as up here, so it's not confusing now. Both our cemeteries are the same prices. But closing and graves, except the new edition, which will be 800
Yeah, for a grave,
per grave.
plus color, closed.
Open and closing.
That'd be $850?
Graves are 600 in the existing cemetery. The new edition will be 800. Open and closing went to 650 weekdays, 700 on weekdays. Same as this. Because we had different prices so now they're the same.
There are some, okay. And we raised the price in the new one to encourage people to fill up the old one. And we have more money invested in the new one. Recently, working on the road and changing the building and surveying. And in addition to that, we're trying to make it more self-sufficient so that townships don't have to kick in so much money like they have been in the past. Anything else you can think of? You guys were there. Is that it?
Did you have the authorized payment of the 2016 cemetery work the Miami Township has done?
It had been mailed to the fiscal officer's old address.
I'm sorry, the cemetery board's payment, not anybody else's.
Oh,
The cemetery board need to authorize the cemetery board to make that payment to Miami Township. I thought that's why you guys met.
That's not why we met.
Okay. Well,
Well, we can't do that until we get the payment from Green Township.
no, the payment from Green Township's got nothing to do with the obligation to pay Miami Township for the work that's been done. Green Township's a separate matter totally. The cemetery board contracted with Miami Township for this work. Miami Township bills them yearly for that work, and the cemetery board is obligated to pay that amount that they're billed every year. Now,
Have we got a bill?
bill's been produced a couple months ago. $18,000. You've got a copy of it, you and I talked about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering when that $18,000 is going to be paid back to the taxpayers of Miami Township for work that's been done in 2016 as contracted. We do this every year.
We sent the bill to Green Township.
It's got nothing to do with Green Township. The bill goes
Well,
to
they
the
pay,
same.
don't they pay half of it?
No, the bill goes to the Clifton Cemetery Board. That's who contracts with Miami Township for maintenance and mowing in the cemetery. It had nothing to do with Green Township. It's only the cemetery board's obligation.
And Green Township
Reimburses the cemetery.
If the cemetery board doesn't have
and
enough money,
Miami Township.
then the two townships are obligated to split that up.
Mhm.
I still don't understand why Green Township doesn't have to pay half of it. They've been paying half of it for years and years.
They do have to pay half of it, but it doesn't have anything to do with the payment to,
Why not?
Miami Township.
Why should we have to pay the bill before they pay their share so we can pay the bill?
Because the obligation is to the cemetery board, not to Miami Township. Miami Township is the one who's invoiced the cemetery board. Miami Township is the one who's done the work. Miami Township taxpayers have paid Daniel and Junie and everybody else to do this work in 2016.
not everybody else, but
Yeah, everybody else.
Well, what's the date due? What's the due date?
Well, it's due on demand. This is not, I mean, we don't have 30 days same as cash sort of, terms. I mean, we pay other accounts when they're presented to us.
I just don't remember ever authorizing that payment, but maybe we did. If we can,
Well, there's only like 20,000 in the checking account. Maybe less once we pay. I'm speaking on behalf of the cemetery accounts. I think our last total was around 20,000.
19 something.
Okay, and then we've got a bill right now that needs to be paid and so forth. So it's like, it would behoove, I would recommend as the fiscal officer to wait to get Green Township to pay their half so that we can not go broke by paying the township right now. I mean, it's just really tight right now, that's all I'm saying.
Perhaps Miami Township should reconsider being in business with the cemetery board. If we can't be assured of payment, why would we want to do this work?
I think the Ohio Revised Code says it's the township responsibility to take care of cemeteries.
No, sir, it's not. That is incorrect.
Well,
If
we'll-
the cemetery-
we'll-
if the
we'll-
cemetery
we'll-
board-
I'll research that.
If the cemetery, be my guest, if the cemetery board dissolves, it would be the township's responsibility. There is a existing legal cemetery board between Green Township and Miami Township. It's a totally separate entity. They're responsible for the maintenance, the upkeep, the burial of people. And they've contracted with Miami Township many years ago to provide that service. And we send them a bill and we get paid for it. And I don't understand why we have to wait to be paid.
Well, as I just explained, the funds will be, you will get paid on behalf of the town, on behalf of the cemetery. There's no mention of of the township not getting paid.
I know, but this is,
That, so, but yeah,
March 20th. The bill's been out for 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks.
no, it's been out that long. 10 weeks would be, or like 10 weeks, well,
You know.
either way,
The cemetery board hasn't even asked the different townships to pay the amount. Do we have, did Miami Township pay their half?
yeah,
Has Miami Township paid their half?
no.
Why not?
Uh, no reason in particular.
Okay, well,
Well, then let's get that done.
let's
That's simple.
get that done. And let's get the cemetery
simple.
board pay the invoice that's before them. Especially before, you know, we pay surveyors and stone suppliers and blacktoppers for the South Drive and whatever else is coming up.
I had a meeting last week, and Green Township representative said that they had just gotten the bill recently, and they had a meeting, I don't know, it was last Tuesday or tomorrow night.
Maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
It's tomorrow night to approve the payment of the bill.
Well, I certainly hope they do, but that does not absolve the Clifton Cemetery Board one iota of writing a check for $18,000+ to the taxpayers of Miami Townships for services that were rendered in 2016. I mean, when people do something, they expect to be paid for it. You know, you don't do stuff for free. Mark doesn't do stuff for free. I do a lot of things for free, but if I can get a buck, I will.
I don't think there's any intention by the cemetery board, even though I'm not on the cemetery board, but I am the fiscal officer, of not paying the bill. So, that comment to me is inadequate, is not fair.
Okay, but I would like to just have it be paid in a timely manner.
And I understand that.
Waiting around for somebody else to do
And
something
being
which
the fiscal officer of
has
the
nothing to do
cemetery
with
and
it.
the township, you know, I need to be writing some checks.
So if we
It's
pay
been
our,
brought to my attention,
yeah, if we pay our
loud and
share-
clear.
If we pay our share, will there be enough in the account to pay the bill?
That would help a bunch, yeah. And of course, it goes all right back to Miami Township, but, yeah. It's confusing. But it's gotta be done, yeah.
Pretty clear to me.
In years past, both townships have kicked in money to
Mhm.
take care of monuments and make up for the shortfall that we don't get enough money from graves to take care of. Years past, we've done that, always, for years and years, in my memory. Now-
And Miami Township paid every penny that's ever been requested of them. Every single penny. We've never shorted that on that request. And I, for one, don't intend to start today, so if that request is brought before the Board of Trustees to pay a certain part of that obligation, I'll vote yes right now. I'll sign the check.
I don't think we have to, we've already agreed to.
That's
to
true.
pay it.
Well, anyway, something to do the next meeting.
Now, where is that money gonna come from? Where does that money usually come from? Try to take it out of the, I know you can't take it out of the road fund like I used to. Well, I'll figure that out.
Okay.
In the meantime, we'll do a little research on the Ohio Revised Code, see what it says about cemeteries.
Okay.
Because I believe it's the township responsibility to take care of cemeteries. But I'll look it up. We'll see. Moving on, new business,
I have none.
old business. Meeting is adjourned.
All right.
All right.